so pre-show, it's very important that we're prepared. There's a lot to do before the show, and there's also a lot to do afterwards. It's not about just turning up. And the better organized you are, the more work you've done beforehand, the better it's going to work out later. So here's a few ideas. Make sure even before the show you schedule in time for follow-up. You have to do this beforehand, because if you don't, after the show you get home, you're tired, you have a bit of a rest, you start dealing with your emails and your Facebook and everything, and then days can go past before you follow up, and every day that passes from the end of the show that you haven't done any follow-up significantly reduces the chances of you getting any good results from the show. If you wait more than 4 days, it's too long. It really has to be as soon as possible. So make a decision even before the show that you're not going to launch into your office work as soon as you get home. So if the show's 3 days long, it's actually longer than that for you. You know, it's cost you money, it's cost you energy. Make sure you follow up. What you don't want is to eventually get round to it, and then the person that you're calling has already been called by 10 people that were at the show and is quite frankly over it and doesn't want to know. So don't be one of the last to call, be the first to call while it's still fresh in their minds and they're still actually likely to be interested. Make sure you write a follow-up email. Now, you can have this done pre-show, and it's just something to say, thanks so much for visiting our stand. We hope you enjoyed the show, and something along those sorts of lines. And here's a special offer that's only for people that visited us at the show. It's going to be open for the next 7 days. It's going to be open for the next 7 days, and here's how to contact me. So that email can be set up before the show, and if you're using something like MailChimp or one of the email programs that you can sign up to, MailChimp is one that's free that I recommend, but there are lots of them around, where you can make a very professional looking email and send it out to everybody on the list, and you can go in later and find out who's actually opened the email, who's had a read, and that'll actually help you with who are you going to phone as well. Somebody who's opened your email 3 or 4 times or more, because some people open them a lot, will be someone that you would put on the phone call list. They would go further up the list. You're not going to call them and say, oh, I noticed that you opened my email lots of times. You're not going to say that at all, but you will know that they have read it, so they would be a good prospect to call. If you're using ordinary email, Outlook Express or whatever you use, you can't do that. So I'd encourage you actually to look up MailChimp. It's free. Other programs are available. As far as I know, MailChimp's the only one that's free up to a certain number of contacts that you have on your list. But you can have that sitting in a program like MailChimp, and then all you have to do at the end of the show, when you're really tired and your feet hurt, come home, sit down, make yourself a nice drink, and just enter email addresses, or even better, give the email addresses to somebody else to enter for you. Enter them into MailChimp and press a button and off goes the email. Done. And then in future shows, you've got the email already sitting there. You might have to change it slightly, but it will pretty much be the same email, and it's gone. So straight away, people have got an email follow-up. They'll see your logo again. They'll be reminded of your products, because don't forget that when you've been around a show and you've seen a lot of different stands, you may not even remember individual companies if you're not familiar with them. So what you want to do is increase the chances of them recognizing you're remembering who you are when you phone them, and the ones that you don't get to call will still get this email, which they can unsubscribe to if they don't want to receive it. So by giving you the email address on the form, then they're giving you implied permission to email them. If you wanted to make it even clearer, you can let them know as they're giving you the email address that this means that they'll get a follow-up email. But obviously they can unsubscribe if they don't want to receive them anymore. All right, so that can be set up before the show. Send out invitations. Send personal invitations to your own customers that are in the area. Sometimes trade shows will give people that are exhibiting free or cheaper tickets that you can just give out to people. And you could even offer some sort of a incentive or enticement for the people who visit you from your list. Remember that most people attend trade shows with a friend. So maybe you can give some sort of a thing. You could have a special free gift for any existing customers that turn up with a friend at your stand, or they could get a voucher for a small discount or something like that. So think about that as well. Use the list that you've got to bring people along. You could think about advertising. I've never been somebody who's particularly keen on advertising. I think we're already spending enough money. The trade show will probably do advertising, and you may be able to piggyback a little bit on that. I think it's actually better use of your time and money to market to the people you already know or to organisations that already know you. If you've got a Facebook business page or a private group on Facebook with your customers in it, make sure you tell everybody. And once again, you could even incentivize, if they visit your stand and mention they saw this on Facebook, then they might get a small voucher or something as well. It's all about just trying to get people interested to come along and find you. Make sure your booth number is on everything, on all promotional material, so that people can find you, because if it's a big show, it can be quite difficult to find you. So make sure your number's on it. And think about what you're going to give away. You know, you could give away pens. It's always good for it to be something that they're going to use and not just throw away with the rest of the stuff that they get at the shows. I had my pens printed with my website and some the company name on it, the logo. Your company might even have pens you can buy. Just think about what can you give. What you want to do, apart from this being a way of promoting yourself and not just ending up in the rubbish bin, it's a way of being a little bit, standing out a little bit. If you can think of a way of standing out, like if the pen is a real quirky one, a real strange looking one, or there's something quirky about your stand, when you make the phone calls later, then you'll be able to refer to that, because that might be something that people will remember. So if they don't necessarily remember your company, you can say, oh, we were the ones that were giving out those funny pens that had something funny on them. I'm not entirely sure what you would find. And especially if you're the one running the stand, then you need to have training before and after the show. And we're going to talk about the training next. Don't spend all this money, go to all this effort, and have people turn up and not know what to do when they're on the stand, or not be uniform in what they're doing. We need to make sure we're projecting the same image.
Jodie's just sent us a message to say that Vistaprint always have great little cheap giveaways.
Yeah, they do. Actually, Vistaprint do a lot of free things as well, and I think they're in every country as far as I know. They're definitely in Australia and New Zealand, and I am almost fairly sure that they're in the States as well. So yes, Vistaprint do a lot of free stuff and cheap stuff.